You're listening to the AFTERBUZZ TV Network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Keith Johnson.
The AFTERBUZZ Studios in Los Angeles, California. Presented by Maria Menounos and Bing.com and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies. This is AFTERBUZZ TV's Shark Tank After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AFTERBUZZ TV's Shark Tank After Show.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Bing is for doing. We're here doing another episode of Shark Tank. That's right. You're listening to the Jaws music. In the words of Mark Cuban, if you walk into the Shark Tank and you don't see a sucker, you're probably the sucker.
That's right.
That's right. I'm your host, Phil Svitek. Steph Z is still on the walk. The big movement from Chicago to New York to end bullying, but she will join us soon. But in the meantime, we have Kristina back.
Hey.
And we've added another person to the panel.
Hey.
Her name is Brooke.
Yes, I'm Brooke Chavez. I'm so happy to be here, and I'm happy to be covering a smart television show.
Yes.
With those brains to work.
All right. And thank you, Steven. We can kill the music now.
Yeah.
Thank you. All right. First item of the night, RuffleButts.
And RuggedButts.
RuffleButts. Rugged? Rough.
Rugged.
Oh, rugged.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, overall thoughts on this product?
Well, you know I always want to see something related to fashion.
Yes.
I was not impressed.
Really?
I wasn't impressed. And you know what? They pissed me off because I don't know how they could say there's nothing like this on the market. It's children's clothing.
I
really,
agree.
that's exactly what it is.
What is the term RuffleButt? Like they kept referring to that. Like,
you know
hey.
what a ruffle is? A ruffle shirt.
Okay.
Almost like how George Washington used to wear blouses like that.
Okay.
It's the same exact thing. A ruffle is like different layering in the fabric, and I guess they put them like on the behind. And
Okay.
do you have
Yeah, so
familiar with
I
them?
have a 2.5-year-old daughter, and she's right. There are so many other companies who make the same, I guess, what were they calling it?
RuffleButts?
Not RuffleButts, but now I can't think of the word for the little undies with the ruffles on the back.
Bloomers.
Bloomers.
Oh, yes.
There we go. They
Thank
make
you.
these little bloomers. I mean, they've been around forever. They're really cute for girls. And now the end thing is to put the layers of ruffles on everything, like little pants or go beyond the bloomer. And there's so many different companies that do this already.
Right. And
I was really surprised.
Besides the ruffles, it was just a clothing brand that they created. I think they said they had clothing for girls and boys up to age 6.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what do you think about the fact that they're already making $3.7 million, estimated to make 4.5 for this year?
I think that's fantastic. I wish we knew where they were selling this clothing.
Yeah, they didn't mention that
At all. Yeah.
I'm thinking online. Because as a mom, I've gotten to going online and finding about cute, specific types of outfits that have like you can monogram or put the kid's name or put like daddy's little whatever. And I'm finding all of those online, and moms are spending tons on that because everyone wants their kid to be like the cutest at the playground. But I did not think they would be making $3.7 million because there's such a huge market out there for this type of clothing. I mean, there's a lot of different companies.
Okay, so to that point, for me, Mark and Kevin kind of brought up a good point, and then there's the same point. It was, if I'm an investor, I want to know the hottest selling item, but when you have 2,700 SKUs, how do you can't really know that. But again, I'm not in the fashion world, and you guys can speak more of that, and so specifically you, Kristina, like that seems like a shit ton.
That's a lot, huh?
That is a lot. But I want to know specifically because, like, how many different bloomers do they have?
They said 600 of bloomers alone. How can you have 600 bloomers? I mean, there are only so many colors, makes, models of bloomers.
Okay, my experience is this, right? I've been watching Bar Rescue and things like that, and so when they create a food menu, they try to use the same types of ingredients, but use different variations.
Ways, right? Mm-hmm.
I bring up that point because I have a friend who is very successful in the fashion industry, and he does every year he does a retreat with his employees, and he makes them breakfast, and then he makes lunch, and he says, "What did you guys notice about lunch?" And then they might pick out a few things, and then he makes dinner. And things like that, and he says, what did you learn? What did you notice about dinner? That's the same as lunch. That was the same as breakfast. And what he did was the leftover ingredients from breakfast he used for lunch. The leftover ingredients from lunch he used for dinner. So he's basically just reusing those things. And he said that's how we got to think of all our fashion for each year. Is we have to, whatever we don't use in the spring, we use for summer, fall, winter, whatever. And I like that idea.
That's interesting.
But it keeps it simple, you know what I mean?
Right.
Whereas, like, when you have that many SKUs, it seems to me like you're going to be using a lot of material. You know what I mean? It's just a big expense.
Absolutely.
Despite pretty awesome sales.
Well, I think I'm interested to know, too, how much money they initially invested in. I know they have no debt in the company, but they obviously had to put a good amount in it first. And I don't think she necessarily has a big fashion background. I think she was kind of like, oh, this is cute. I want to see this on my kids. I want to see this on my kids. And just got like designing happy.
Right. She said she started in real estate and she did fairly well in real estate. And then she just started designing clothes. But that many is just, it starts to get confusing. I would think that you would want like a set number of your best sellers that you want to focus on, because if you start to modify every bloomer, like, oh, well, we have the pink and the red, but we've also added this one where there's one blue stripe and then this one, and it just, it's just too much. I hate going into a store, like Forever 21, for example, and it's cheap and it's great, but there's so many different options and I'm just overwhelmed. It's just too much, and I'm just like, I don't even want to deal with it. I just want to walk out. I'd rather go into a store where there's like a handful of really great options, and then I can pick and choose. But when I have to sort through, and as a mom, you just don't have time for that.
Right. What I think would be interesting, too, is to see, because, I love children's clothing as well, and I am not trying to have kids anytime soon, but I know when I do, they're going to be, like, so prepped out. So I would be very interested in to see a business like this, where they're, like, had, with all this merchandise, if they had, items for like that preppy mom and dad, or like for the preppy kids, or like for those kids who want to have like a little bit more of a rock and roll feel. Because you had that one girl with like cute little ruffles, and then like the little boy looked like a mini like mafiosa type kid.
Right.
You know what I mean? From like a little gangster from back in the day. So I feel like I didn't see any specific. I don't know. There wasn't like anything specific that when I saw them, I'd be like, oh, that's that great brand RuffleButts.
Yeah. So let me ask you this, all the guys were out, they didn't really care about the fashion end of it, and also the numbers, right, didn't work for them. Barbara and Lori stayed in. If you were a shark, would you just kind of look at it like, okay, we just basically we got to downsize the SKUs and things like that. We got to pick out what works and go from there.
Yes, absolutely. I would say that we need to, figure out our best sellers, make sure to market those, figure out what's not selling hardly. If you sold a couple of whatever, the bottom 1,000 or whatever SKUs, and just like streamline in order to make it less complicated.
Well, they didn't really talk that much about their actual business.
No, they only mentioned the sales, which, when you mentioned that, I was like, oh, these sales are impressive. Whose deal was better in your eyes, Barbara's or Lori's? I love this back and forth between the two of them.
I think, I just feel like Lori's was alone.
Lori's was alone.
And that's it.
With some equity attached.
9% equity.
Yeah.
I just am loving Barbara this season. And I think that if they really tried to get Barbara down a little bit more, because Barbara would have gone down to 10%. So I think that if they went for 1% more equity, I would have gone with Barbara instead of Lori.
Yeah, I for this one, I thought Lori's a better shark to do it with, but I also didn't 100% like her deal.
But okay, so here's my thing. I feel like everyone automatically wants to work with Lori when they have a product to sell, because obviously that's what she does. Mm-hmm. But I think that these entrepreneurs need to be a little bit more prepared when they go in and see what other businesses the sharks have worked on. Because I think everyone is just waiting for Lori to make a deal, and then all of a sudden they're like, okay, Lori has worked on QVC. Lori holds all these patents. Let's work with Lori. She's definitely the best shark. But I think Barbara could have done a fantastic job.
Yeah, and one thing Barbara mentioned that we know is that she is great at building a brand. And one thing that we mentioned about RuffleButts is that they haven't really differentiated themselves through all of these other kids brands. To where we would look at something and say, "Oh, that must
like
be
a specific
RuffleButts,"
brand.
and so maybe Barbara might have, helped to differentiate them. But I personally would have probably still gone with Lori because she does have all of those connections. But we didn't know where they were selling, so we don't know if they're already in stores or if it's only online. So that would have been a helpful tip.
Yeah.
What do you think?
In this case,
Damon.
yes, Damon. I would
Mark
have been like, hey, can I give a call to Damon?
Damon
Let's see
should
what
have
he's
been
offering.
there for this. He would have been great.
I mean, it's you know what I mean. Never to kind of know what's. But ultimately, you know what? I think Barbara, you could have done a really, really good job with it. But they went with Lori, so congrats to Lori. This was a great cat fight throughout the whole episode.
Definitely.
And just in general, a tough week, for the entrepreneurs, right?
What?
To sell their products, it was tough.
Oh,
it was
this
tough
episode?
negotiations.
It was Lori. Lori was really, really tough this episode. And this season in general, I feel like in past seasons, she has not been this tough.
Well, you know what? I commend her for being a little bit tough. I mean, I think, as she later mentions, Mark is mentioning, that's a Kevin deal. I think she's picking up from Kevin.
Right.
To make these sort of deals. But let's talk about Edna.
Dr. Edna.
All right, you guys have to talk about this product more because
Phil doesn't want everyone to know that he has the numbnuts edition of
that
this.
he manscapes.
And
Not that we know. But.
And that he manscapes. He was just trying to push it on to us because he doesn't want to look guilty. Sorry for blowing up your
the product was more intended for you guys.
This is LA. It's okay, Phil. LA man manscape.
So Bear Ease. This is very interesting. And I liked her a lot too. She was really funny. And I saw a little bit of her tweeting with Lori. And Lori was like, oh man, like they cut out so much of the funny stuff during your pitch. So I guess it was even more entertaining than what we saw, which I would have loved to see. But she wanted, $50K for 20%. Mm-hmm. And essentially, this is just a branding issue because it's just numbing cream.
Right.
Well, here's the thing.
For your bikini line.
And apparently it moisturizes and helps the
right.
skin as well, but that's what they all say.
I think that this... Well, okay, did they talk about how long you need to leave it on for? Because I don't remember hearing that.
What was it mentioned?
It was made out to be kind of quick. I mean, I don't know.
Put on the Miley Cyrus underwear and...
I'm going to regret asking this.
Let's hear it.
But in preparation for an appointment, how many days do you need? Like, what is a typical preparation phase? You know what I mean?
To numb? No.
I don't know.
Right,
What are you trying to say?
I'm trying to get to the answer of how long you guys are asking.
You would put this stuff on like 5 or 10 minutes before you go in to get... Yes. I actually worked at a... Yes.
Okay.
I worked at a med spa, not like where they wax, but where you get like Botox and Juvederm and all that way back in the day. And they use a similar, just lidocaine numbing cream. It's like 5 or 10 minutes before you like get your Botox injections, for example. So yeah, it's like 5, 10, 15 minutes at most.
See, I think this would be terrific to sell at spas and like nail salons or anywhere, where women are getting...
Are you saying it's a licensing deal?
Yes.
Yes.
That's what we need.
Yeah.
Why wasn't any of the sharks...
Well, they did say that.
Yeah, they mentioned that.
I think they just were like, I can't have like berries on my resume. I'm like just not gonna start pitching this to people.
No, here's the if I mean, if it was making money, then I don't care what's on my portfolio.
Mm-hmm.
I think their concern was Dr. Ma's lack of focus on the actual product itself. She said she was working in academia, she's a doctor, and she's a mother. She hasn't really it's like a hobby for her. She's just like, this would be a good idea. She's probably like hanging out after work, and she's like, I'm going to take some of this lidocaine before I go get my bikini wax. And so I'm stealing this from the office, and then voila.
Created something.
Yeah.
And you know what? She needs a good partner. I think, you know what I mean? She's looking for a partner in the Sharks, but she just needs an everyday partner that's willing to do it. But you know what?
I think she's done a terrific job considering everything else she's doing. And I know it's only 6,000 or 45,000, and she's projected to do 62. But considering all of her other occupations, that's pretty good.
Again, it's good for now, but I think she needs to bring in someone into the business. Speaking of that, why don't we bring in one of our callers, Stephen, patch him on through.
Caller on the line.
Hello.
As soon as you said that, they hung up.
No!
there's a caller.
I was so excited.
See, here's what happens. Every time I had a caller, they get so scared. The guy thought he was ready to enter the Shark Tank, but wasn't.
Well, do you want to know what's sad? I thought I could not read that properly. I thought he was telling us to call Dr. Edna.
Yes,
we have her number?
Yeah, we're going to call Dr. Edna. But fans, we appreciate you guys calling in. Again, through my experience, I tend to not take as many phone calls because you guys get scared. But in lieu of that, please continue to go to iTunes and YouTube, rate and comment. Let us know what you guys are thinking. Let us know what products are your favorites, what was fair deals, anything of that nature relating to the show. Because we like to read it. It's fun.
And if that was you, call us back.
Yes. We want to hear from you.
Okay, so everyone was out on this deal.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Well, again, as Brooke said, it's a lack of focus on Edna's part, and it's just not going to work. You have to give it your all.
Yeah, she definitely needs a partner. And then maybe she can repitch it. But given that it was on Shark Tank, maybe people... Did she say she's selling it online?
Yes. That's where most of her sales came from.
Her sales might go up. And do they get an opportunity to ever go back?
We haven't seen
Like The
that.
Voice? Like, if you're not so great this time, work on your singing skills and come back.
They don't, but... the fact that, her and Lori are tweeting and things like that, their relationship stems outside of the show.
Right.
And so, you know what, if she does kind of continue to build the brand, then you know what, maybe she can tweet back at Lori and say, hey, you know what, I'm ready. And then maybe it's a separate meeting.
Right.
But again, it's an opportunity to pitch to Lori, like, hey, since the show, I've got a partner that handles day-to-day. We're doing $500,000 in sales. Boom, let's make a deal.
For sure.
Last week we were talking about how we need a Spencer's item. Do you think this could be a Spencer's item?
What's so Spencer? What qualifies as an item at Spencer's?
I don't know. I think it'd be funny, especially for the numb nuts.
Okay,
Okay.
I saw the numb nuts.
If it's not actually lidocaine, though, it has to be like whipped cream inside, right? In order to be
Yeah, something like that.
Because isn't that what they're like gag gifts, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess you're
Sort
right.
of.
Okay.
I mean, yes. I think the numb nuts with, as she's saying, like silly string or something like that. Then that's a Spencer's gift.
Okay. Dr.
But I
Edna,
know exactly
I'm
what you're
sorry
talking
for
about.
referring to Mary's in association with Spencer's.
Oh my god.
I can see that, though.
All right.
Speaking of Spencer's gifts.
Item number 3.
Right.
All right. Item number 3. This was just a disaster.
This is bad.
Here's the thing. I actually like the concept. I like it in such a way that I might get a few of my own goats to do it all. But the business, franchising goats. Oh my God.
I just think, what was Matt doing?
What is Sparky? Sparky has
He knows
Sparky, our
that we're
mascot.
talking about goats, so he decided he wanted to come and be a part of the show. Or talking about animals. He doesn't want any other animals invading the studios.
Yes, Sparky is our mascot here at AfterBuzz TV. He's got a lot to say on the issue. But anyway, it just, Rent a Goat LLC.
Right.
Your thoughts, go.
I like the idea. I like it that it's a green alternative. I think it's hilarious that they naturally fertilize as they work. I think there is no business plan. And frankly, I don't know why Mike needs Matt. Mike is the guy with the goats.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah.
I don't know what Matt offers him.
Matt offers him goat. Or what Matt offers Mike.
Yeah.
He offers him a marketing solution because Mike obviously doesn't talk. And he's in his own rural world as a goat person.
But he's
The goat
grossing
man.
over $600,000 a year.
Right. But I guess Matt saw that opportunity. He's like, whoa, this guy's making great money. How can I spread this out and take it on another level via the internet? and get more involved.
His idea is to franchise this. Create a McDonald's. So Mike is an owner of a McDonald's.
Right.
But it's just, Barbara did bring up a good point. Okay, so there is a guy like Mike, but now you have to find more Mikes,
right,
all over the country that are going to be decent and and handle all the goats and the transportation and all of this stuff. The business plan just doesn't make sense.
At first, I thought this has to be a joke. I mean, I know it's not. And then I was like, okay, you know what? I'm from Texas. I can see how, like, you use your animals to do what you need to do. And then it was starting to make a little more sense. But when they got down to the point that, yes, you have to find other people like Mike, not just like some schlum off the street who's like, ooh, I can buy a lot of goats and then I can make $600,000 a year. Then, and who has to have some sense about caring for these animals, transporting these animals, ensuring that these animals do what they need to do in a cohesive way. It's like, it's a lot of work. Too much. It's too much to make it happen.
Isn't it insane, though, that 450 goats eat an acre a day?
Yes. And
That's wild.
to me, what's insane is that, okay, for an acre, it takes 2,700 per acre, like just with machinery.
Right.
But at most, 1,200 per acre by the goats. I like those numbers.
Yeah.
But again, we just need a business plan.
But, and then they didn't talk about time, like the amount of time it actually takes. Like, don't these goats get full?
And bringing new goats.
I know.
That's interesting, too.
like
Are they going to be outside on your property all day long?
How long does it actually take? Because time is a factor, too. Sure, money-wise, it's cheaper. But how long does it mean it's going to take 3 months versus 2 months? Or, I mean, that's also something that they didn't talk about.
It's true. I mean, the nice part about it is it also doesn't make that loud-ass noise.
Oh, the weed
No,
whacker?
because you're always trying to work, and you just hear. And you're
Wow,
like,
that was pretty good.
That's really good.
That was
you're
pretty
like, come
good.
on, I'm trying to. I got
Let
this
me close
report
my
to
eyes.
do.
You can do it again. So then they talked about this natural fertilizer idea too, and Mike or Matt mentioned that like homeowners associations already use these goats or whatnot, and I'm thinking it's for the properties that they have to clear out or whatnot. But the fertilizer deal, like someone has to clean. I mean, it's not like the poop is just there and that's it. Someone's gonna have to like spread it, clean it out. There's too many working parts, and then when you have an animal, it's not reliable. It's not a reliable thing. Just like animals in show business, you just never know what might happen with these various animals.
That's true.
So.
It's very true, and Mike started getting into ROI. Matt got into ROIs of 45%, and in 5 years we'll be making this.
Mark shut him up really quickly.
Yeah, because you don't know.
No,
right.
You don't. You think I knew where AfterBuzz was going to be in a year? No. But it grew like hell. So, but whatever. It's just terrible presentation. I mean, okay, between them and the doctors, who was worse? Remember episode 1?
Oh, I didn't see that.
I think the doctors were worse.
What was the doctors? Fill me in really quick.
The doctors came in very ill-prepared, pardon the pun, and were basically like, hey, we're going to make Facebook for doctors, but they didn't even simplify
Twitter for doctors.
Yeah, they couldn't even simplify it to those terms. It was
Right.
like, it's social networking for doctors. And it's like, but it does this. But that's not what it's showing. It's just terrible.
At least those guys were doctors, and I think that the Sharks held them to a higher standard just because of that to begin with, and I think everyone watching as well. And they left, and everyone thought they were assholes. And at least after this one, everyone's like, that Mike's a cool guy. So that goes to show you a little something.
Everyone thought the doctors were assholes, or the
Doctors.
Doctors.
Okay.
Yeah.
They were
right,
really
because
bad.
that's a little elitist, right? I just want to like have my own social media site for us because we're doctors.
That's actually what it was.
Yeah.
It was turning into that, and Mark called
I mean,
him out
that's
on it.
like, yeah.
So all in all, Mike, I don't know what your business is. Again, I'm so confused.
It was so confusing. I don't even have much to say on it because I was kind of like, what is even going on?
Yeah. But congrats to Mike, and whatever business you own with the goats, keep on goating.
All I
Be
remember,
Goat man.
All I remember from his pitch is his, "I'm not kidding," and there's some goat humor for you.
Oh, right.
Because kids, yeah.
Kid.
Yeah.
I don't
Terrible,
get it.
terrible.
A goat.
Goat
Kid.
kids. Like that? Wait, what's
A
kidding?
female goat is called a kid.
I didn't know that.
There you go. Mark got
Thank
it.
you.
Mark got it. Shoot, we forgot to talk about Persephone, but maybe we'll talk about her at the end.
Okay.
All right, let's talk about Veggie Mama
Hey.
product. Brooke, have you seen this product?
I haven't seen it, and I go to Whole Foods, and I actually try to eat really well and feed my daughter really well. We eat lots of veggies. I'm excited about it. I couldn't believe that Mark, who I love, who's a fellow, well, he's not Texan, but you know, he might as well be, that he just was out so quickly. He's like, I'm not into the frozen food. I'm not going to do it, because I thought it was a great idea, because every day I'm trying to figure out how to feed Isabella more veggies, whether it's in a smoothie or, you know, like I've seen Pedialyte Pops. I was mentioning this to Phil, like when kids need to replenish their electrolytes, instead of giving them Pedialyte in liquid form, which they don't want to drink because it tastes weird, they have them as a pop, and it's like it's sugar. I don't know if there's sugar in it, but it's sweetened.
Well, this one doesn't have sugar in it, and it's vegan.
Right, agave
Vegan,
nectar.
gluten-free.
Yeah.
I loved this. I love Veggie Mama. First of all, I love ice puffs. I just think they're
I like
delicious.
ice puffs,
So
too.
I would eat these. I would definitely. I actually am like, I need to go find them.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm dying for.
So
a
do
veggie
you ever
pop.
get a hankering though, where you just want ice cream and you're like, I want to make a better decision, like I should get sorbet, but then you think about it and you're like, well, it still has like a lot of high fructose. So like a veggie pop is just great.
Yes,
for
it's-
the gal who's wanting to like.
It's like it's a perfect snack for a dieting girl.
It is. It is. I'm
wants
not
to
going to
get her
disagree with
daily
you.
nutrients in.
Exactly. I love it. I wonder how many calories are in each one. They didn't mention that.
They did not. I'm sure that wasn't. Here's the thing. I don't think that's.
For the kids who are watching their waistlines.
Oh wait, this is for kids, right?
Right.
Excuse me.
No, well, part of it is one of the reasons I'm sure it didn't get mentioned. You know, who really cares if? Okay, is it gonna make me money? Yes or no? And not like, oh, what's the calorie count?
Well, consumers like to know this stuff.
Yeah, well, we'll figure that out later.
There's carrot, berry, citrus, cucumber, and sweet potato pie. Those are the flavors.
I don't know about that sweet potato pie. That sounds gross.
What?
I don't like sweet potatoes.
I love sweet potatoes.
I just love Kevin, and it's so here we go. We got the different flavors here on screen for
Citrus
those of you
cucumber
watching.
looks good.
You know, it's always a what do you call those? Half insults, half compliments, or whatever. Where it's like, okay,
Oh, like a southern compliment or a southern insult?
sure. Where
I think
Kevin
that's what
goes,
they call
wow,
them.
this is actually good. I
Yeah.
expected it to taste like shit.
Right.
Backhanded compliment.
There
Yeah.
you go. That's it.
I thought they were called southern compliments.
That same thing. Like when someone says, "Oh, bless his heart," which really means like he's an idiot or
Or
something.
like, oh, she looks really good for her, or something like
for her
that.
age.
Okay.
But apparently, you know, all the flavors are good.
Right.
You know, so that's good to know. It certainly always helps the product when the sharks like it, and all the sharks like it. You know what I mean? The fact that Mark was out, yes, but at least he enjoyed the product.
Well, he
Right.
was out at the beginning, Mark and Barbara.
Yeah.
But they tried the product before that. What do you guys think
Well-
of the price? Because I feel like they're selling them for too cheap.
I think.
Well, I didn't get the price. What was it?
It cost them $1.10 to make, and they're selling them wholesale for $2.25. I'm curious to see what Whole Foods is selling them for, because I know I buy these gluten-free pops sometime, and I pay $3 a pop for just one.
Per pop?
So I'm getting like,
You're getting screwed.
I'm getting really ripped off. But this girl's so good. She sells them at the farmer's market at the Grove, and they're delicious. So you keep going back. But they're $3. I could have a whole box.
But they're not. It's not like a packaged thing. So I can see how if you were
Right.
hanging out, it's the whole experience. You're at the farmer's market.
Right.
You're getting the pop.
This is $2.25. She's selling wholesale for a box of 6.
I mean,
That's actually not bad. If you
Right?
buy the crap stuff like regular push-ups
It's
for
probably-
a box of 12, it's like $3.49.
okay. So it's on par with market value.
Mm-hmm.
That's good. I mean,
I think I just overpay for everything is what I'm realizing at this
you
moment.
probably do.
That
You got to
is-
start couponing.
I know. My mom keeps telling me that. Go on.
I'd be
It's a whole
interested.
other show.
Not that they asked, but I'd be interested to see if we could get manufacturing costs down a little bit.
Right.
You know what I mean? I don't know. For me, there's no way it should cost that high.
Right, just to make a popsicle.
But they are using vegetables and fruits and agave. Like, those aren't cheap ingredients at the same time. How
Well,
much
veggies and
is
fruits
really
should
going
be
into
cheap.
one?
That's what's unfortunate about
I know, that
society
is
today.
totally. And they invested $140,000 and they've made 30 grand profit so far, which I thought was really interesting, their backstory before they actually went into the Shark Tank.
Yeah, that was a good human story.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he quit law school. She sold the diamond out of her ring. They have $110,000 from their family and friends. That's a lot riding on this business.
Now, you know what? Let's talk about them and Edna, right? So they went to this length to start this business, whereas, you know, for Edna, I think the success story is to where she already got to. You know what I mean? The fact that she overcame everything, got to college, now has a good job, and is living that American dream. You know what I mean? So I think that for her is the culmination of her American dream, which isn't a bad thing. You know what I mean? But these guys, it's a different story. So I commend Edna, but I think that's the difference between Edna and these guys.
Definitely.
And that's kind of the difference, though, between someone who's like a real risk taker and entrepreneur, though. She wasn't ready to like jump all the way in 100%.
But you know, what I, you know, in turn, again, going back to Edna, you know, she's had inconsistency her whole life. You know, of how are we going to survive? And now that, you know, now she's found a stable footing, then you know what, she's achieved something. And these guys, you know, they took a risk and they're trying to find that stable footing, which is, but that's in this business.
Right.
Well, and then also he was in law school. Edna is an anesthesiologist, so she's making a whole lot more than, I mean, what is he? I mean, I don't know how they're even supporting themselves. I don't know how they're supporting themselves right now because she's a stay-at-home mom and he's in law school. So.
No, but he quit law school and he has a job that's paying him.
Right. So while he was in law school, I'm thinking,
yeah.
I mean,
he's got to have debts still, despite that. Okay, I liked. This was an interesting battle, you know, because Kevin goes into it and he's like, okay, here's, and I thought, you know, for what the offer was, you know, Kevin structured it fairly enough, and he's had success in the food business, so he would have actually been a good shark to go with.
I think so too.
But people get resilient
towards Kevin.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do.
he's got that personality.
Yeah, but for me, it's like, okay, his personality is to what? Want to make money. Well, what do you think he's going to have you do? Make money.
Exactly. I think he would have been a great partner for them, especially, and he mentioned the cupcake business that is doing wonders that he worked with. So
Wicked Cupcakes.
Doing so good, yeah.
Yeah.
Wicked good cupcakes.
Yeah, it's doing
Down
great.
in Faneuil
They're
Hall.
from Boston, yeah?
Yeah, they're Boston.
I would have done so well. And he was going to give him $75K, 50% royalties until he gets that back. And then 25 after that. And then Robert came in 75 for 25.
Well, he came in at 100, technically 150.
150, correct.
Because 75,000 of that was the salary for Robert.
Right.
I should have taken it while I was on the...
They really should have taken it. But maybe, I feel like if they countered him right away and was like, oh, do you think it could maybe come down a little bit? Because they originally were at 15%.
Yeah.
So if he said 75 for 20, or 150 for 20, instead of 75 for 15, which they originally wanted.
You know, I mean, okay, I think they were... This is so tough because, okay, Kevin offered, Robert offered, and Lori offered. You know, I feel like most people don't counter enough to group people together. So I would have been like, hey, you know, could we get you and Lori or something like that?
Right.
They just waited.
They don't think
and Mark called them out on it. He's like, are you really thinking about that? Like, go ahead, take that deal. That's an awesome deal.
It was, and they waited. And then
they waited, yeah.
But can't you understand it? Wouldn't, if you were in their position, you would want to hear what other offers are on the table. And I get that.
Okay, but I would have done it differently. I feel like, I don't know, there's something different.
Well, what happened was that we got one offer from Kevin, one offer from Robert. They had a little bit of time. Then Kevin came back in with another offer. When he was coming back in with another offer, that's when Lori and Robert got together and were like, let's just blow him out.
Right.
Yeah.
So they had like two opportunities to take something, and then that's when it all fell apart. And then ultimately Mark and Barbara were like, let's just offer them this so they'll all shut up.
I thought it was a very impulse decision on their part to go with Mark and Barbara.
75 for 20. So they lost that other 75.
Yeah.
And I don't think they realized that at the time. They're probably like, okay, awesome.
They were. That's what they were. They just, okay,
Yeah,
right, yeah, let's go with them.
No royalties. Perfect.
Well, all they were thinking was they didn't want they didn't want to have to pay the royalties for the rest of the company's life.
I honestly think they would have taken anything. I think they really know they needed a partner. I think they're doing a great job on their own, but I think that they're a little afraid and they kind of want some guidance with them.
They really should have. Kevin even said it's so important that they get, I forget the guy's name, the dad.
Robert.
Out of his office and get him on board and give him that salary. It's going to be like so key, and they really should have gone with one of the $150,000 offers.
I think they should have asked Mark and Barbara, what do you think about doing 150?
Yeah. I don't know. It was just bad. You should have just gone. Here's the thing. Robert is more than fair with most of his deals.
Right.
More than fair. I mean, Lori, today was very shark-like.
Mm-hmm.
But Robert has always been fair, and he's such a great teacher. Why wouldn't you go with him?
Absolutely.
And especially, he offered up more. The fact that he's offering a salary, I mean, so the equity was a little bit higher, but he basically doubled it. So, I don't know.
Yeah, they missed that. That one offer was the best.
What do you guys think about Barbara being the teacher of the Shark Tank, as Lori said?
Okay, well, I feel exactly like Robert said. Like, okay, understand that she's giving you a lot of free value, but you're getting nothing in return. I mean, granted, ultimately she came back in, so,
Right.
riled her up in that regard, but,
I like that she chimed in and got them. She might have screwed them up a little bit at the end, but at the beginning when she was chiming in, it was giving them something to think about, and it ups the drama and ups the pressure.
I mean, with the royalty, I mean, it sucks to have royalty, but at the same time, that also means that, the shark wants to make more. I mean, they're always going to want to make money,
right,
and be incentivized. But maybe, because I'm getting such a high royalty fee, then you know what? I might even do more with it.
I think Kevin's deal actually might have been one of my favorites. 150, no equity, just royalties. Because essentially at the end, isn't the royalty pretty much the same thing as equity?
It just can amount, you know what I mean? It can amount to different things.
Right, but
look what he did with Cupcake.
Right.
Wicked good cupcakes. I don't know. I don't think it sucks that Kevin actually doesn't get the full credit that he deserves.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sometimes.
Well, that's what I think I think they should have done a little bit more research, and maybe they did, maybe they didn't. But if they did, they would have known what a great job he did with Wicked Good Cupcakes, and maybe what Robert has done in the past too that could really help them with their business.
What I think is that anytime there's a food product on the show and we talk about it, they should send it to AfterBuzz TV so that we can give our real knowledge about what we think about them. Specifically, Veggie Pops coming up soon. We'd really like to try them.
I like that idea.
Well, we can go to Whole Foods maybe. But yeah, all in all, I don't know. I just with them, I thought a terrible choice. But I mean, it's Mark, so Mark's always going to be great. And Barbara, yeah.
Mark doesn't even want to do the work.
Well, he said, I don't want to do. Yeah.
So how'd they can be so great?
Barbara, you got Barbara.
All right, you got Barbara.
Yeah.
Got it.
So, and ultimately, the good news is that they got 2 sharks instead of just one.
Totally.
They went with Kevin.
Yeah, and when they were getting together, Barbara and Mark, he's like, I don't want to do the work. She's like, I'll do it. Come on, let's do it.
Yeah, she was excited
She's
about
like,
it.
I'm going to do it. So let's hope she pulls through.
We'll see.
I really want some of those Veggie Pops.
Okay, let's talk about Nardo's Natural. Bitter, as they said, bittersweet, and I don't know if there's a better word for it, but the fact that they are doing so well as a company, despite
the loss.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so sad.
And
Really,
I don't
really
think
sad.
they gave an explanation for
Just
his
an
passing.
accident.
Yeah,
Just-
tragic accident, they said.
And he was like the one with, that kind of sold the company, the little brother with the sweet smile.
I don't remember what Nardo's Natural was.
It's like a moisturizer type.
Yeah,
Oh, that's right.
facial.
That's right. And they had the coconut like hand cream and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So they had done the deal with Barbara back in the day, and again, they're doing success. It's good to hear that they are doing. I mean, to have 14 sales representatives, that's a lot of employed people.
Absolutely.
So they're obviously making profit enough to hire more people and pay these people, and that's great. I like hearing that, but obviously tragic. Should we get into predictions for next week?
Sure.
Let's do it.
Soundboard's home. Sorry.
Steven.
Soundboard's
He's on
home.
the phone with
Phil.
the caller. He doesn't want to let us talk to him.
Oh, Steven. All right, let's just get into predictions.
All right. There we go.
I'll take. There we go.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
I'll take that you were so enthralled in our discussion that you forgot that you needed to actually do a job, Steven.
I can't help it if I hit the button, it doesn't play. I got
Can you just say,
on the
I was
button.
so enthralled with the discussion that I forgot that I had a job to do?
I was so enthralled with the discussion that I forgot that I had a job to do.
Good. All right.
I was applying the numb nuts.
I knew he was going to say something. Numb cashews.
Okay, next week. Let's start with you, Brooke, since you're new to the panel.
Oh, Lord.
What do you think of next week? What are you excited about? Are you
Wait, did they give an update on who's coming next week?
Well, Damon's back instead of
Yes.
Barbara, so you missed him.
I like him more than I like Barbara, to be
Okay.
honest with you.
So
She's
you're-
a little rigid sometimes. So-
Crusty, as Robert called her.
Why are you being so crusty?
Crusty?
Oh my God, terrible description for a woman.
I don't know. I don't know what to expect. I think that there's going to be more partnering up, though. And, Lori and Robert got together this past week, and then all of a sudden Barbara wanted to get on the bandwagon and partner up with Mark. And I think that they're going to start teaming up. And or those who are coming on and asking for money are going to start realizing that, and they're compromising in their position to negotiate. They're going to say, can I get you both to work together for, this or that? So that's my prediction.
Interesting. Okay.
I am just very interested to see what is going on with all those costumes.
Yes, we got the weird Halloween type.
Horror nights at Shark Tank.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see that.
If it is a Halloween business, it's going to be terrible. No one's going to bite on it, only for the reason it's so time specific.
Right.
That what are you going to do for the rest of the 11 months, 10 months maybe?
Part of me wants to think that it's almost like a party type package because people like Halloween so much. Why not have it all year round? And this is obviously a super far guess because I have no idea what it could possibly be. But I would like to gossip about something.
What do you want to gossip
Ooh, we
about?
love gossip.
Okay, so we always talk about Robert
AfterBuzz
and how much we love him and how he's the cutest family man. And I think it's a little bit interesting. We didn't talk about this during Bear Ease, but we learned a little bit more about his past. And it was interesting to hear that his father, because they always say he's the son of an immigrant factory worker, but his father actually escaped jail and got them over here on a boat in the middle of the night. I added the middle of the night part, but just to be a bit more dramatic. But I had no idea about that.
And
So I
freezing
thought that
water.
was interesting. I don't know. Did you guys know that?
I think he's talked about it, but he hasn't. He doesn't touch on it too much all the time.
But he gave a little bit more detail today, which I thought was cool.
Yeah.
That's that.
I think so too, and again, just he uses it to illustrate a point and to teach, and that's what I love. I love that about Robert.
Right.
What did you? Okay, since you're
Prediction?
Greek, what did you think of? We haven't touched on the
Yeah, you're Greek.
I'm trying to think of how he said Persephone.
Persephone. He said
story.
Persephone.
It's Persephone, Kevin. That's the only thing I'm gonna get you on, Kevin. Is that it's Persephone?
He used this to talk about the RuffleButts, correct?
Yes.
And about how the devil of inventory.
Yes. Good metaphor. Could we agree?
Yeah, it was a good metaphor.
Okay. You're just upset that
I just think he likes to hear himself talk.
Here's the thing. I think ironically, I think so, but he doesn't talk as much as you would think.
No, he talks.
And I thought for him, here's the thing. I thought for him, again, he'll give you a lesson if you're willing to listen to it.
Right.
And there was a lesson in that. And so this was actually a much easier to grasp lesson than most of his lessons.
It was kind of a long story for the lesson to be learned.
Exactly.
Though. Like that's a pretty basic lesson. Like greed is like the root, like the root of all evil or whatever. Like it could have been taught much more quickly. But what he did say at the end was like, you just want more. And I kept thinking of those AT&T commercials. Is it AT&T with the kids? We want more. More is better. Anyway.
See, I don't necessarily think she's very greedy.
Yeah.
I think she is just trying to build her business and wants to find what works the best, and this is the only way she knows how.
I think she just needs to
waters.
learn how to streamline. I think that she has all of these people who are a part of the business who are like, we want this custom made and that or this, and she needs to learn to say no instead of it being a matter of her being greedy and wanting more money.
That's true. That's true. I mean, I like that they listened and they started one for boys.
Right.
But yeah, I think it stems from that, just always trying to please everybody.
Right, exactly.
And I love how just because I'm Greek, it makes it, I'm more credible to discuss whether that is a fair analogy or not.
Well, Persephone was Greek.
Yes, I know. I just
So
think
was
it's funny.
Zeus.
I know.
That's your people.
Those are my people.
Those are your peeps.
That's right.
So, all right. Anyway, it's been a great episode of Shark Tank. We thank you guys for tuning in yet again. Please continue to rate and comment, but more importantly, tell a friend. See, we told our friend, and we got Brooke.
Yay!
See, we did our due diligence. We got more people on the show.
That's right.
And we're going to continue to try to book the Sharks on the show for you guys. It's always a scheduling nightmare, unfortunately, because they are so busy. But they do want to do it, Lori in particular. In the meantime, you can follow us here at AfterBuzz TV on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all that fun stuff. But where can they find you, Ms. Zias?
You can find me at Ms. Zias on Twitter and Instagram and at MsZias.com.
Nice. And you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Brooke Chavez, LA.
And you can also catch them on other shows, for example, Awkward, the MTV comedy show.
Yes, so excited. Awkward starts this Wednesday night, and we've had a lot of great guests on, and it's really fun. MTV. I can't believe I'm watching MTV again and how much I love it. So
and there's a few more episodes left of America's Next Top Model. You can catch Brooke on that, and a few more episodes of Real Housewives of Miami. So
I am the Real Housewives queen. Give me the gossip. Give me the scoop. I want to hear it all. Real Housewives of Beverly Hills will be starting on November 4th, and we're so excited.
I'm glad you
go.
can watch Housewives and Shark Tank and talk about both of them. That gives you a lot of credit.
Balance.
there you go. All right, guys, go rent a goat. We'll see you next week.
Thanks, guys.
From Bing.com, executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.